Hello everyone, my name is Craig. Welcome back to the channel, and this is a video review of the X-Shot Kickback, a spring power blaster very similar to the Flux because it has, yeah, that sound. Is it just a reskin of the Flux? We're about to find out. Let's get into the video review. No unboxing for this one, so starting out with the external overview of the blaster. Starting up front, of course, there's no end strike barrel lug, but up front is a single barrel. It is a single shot, right? You'll simply front load like that. That capacity of this blaster is one shot, right? Getting up top, there's no end strike rails or anything like that. Nothing tactical on that. Lay bummer. Whoops, getting back to the back, this is a priming handle. This blaster is spring powered. To prime, you do that and you're ready to fire once. Also, I forgot to mention up here, this is technically like a fake slide. It only slides like about maybe a quarter of the way, maybe. It does not help in priming the blaster, but whenever you do fire the blaster, it kicks back. Right? Just like something with the Flux had the same idea. Basically making it feel almost like a real firearm, and it actually has that mechanic, so you can go around pretending like you're loading, and then right, you could do that. Pretty fun. But yeah, definitely a weird mechanic in Nerf, but definitely super fun. Getting down to the grip is actually pretty small and a little bit disproportionate to the blaster, unlike something. Of course, I'm going to endlessly compare this to the Flux. The Flux grip is actually pretty proportional to the blaster. I could deal with this. And no, it is not just a reskin of the Flux. The Flux is much bigger and has a bigger profile, better proportions than that. But it is the same mechanics as the Flux, right? But no, it is much smaller. So in case we asked that, I'll mention that again a few times in the review. But no, it is not just a Flux reskin or a D-skin, basically. But the grip, I have very small hands, and this grip, it fails to grip my entire hand, at least completely, but it can, right? But my pinky still wants to dangle a little bit. I still think they could have added maybe another ½ inch of grip to this blaster, and it would have been better. So grips, yikes. Getting down to the trigger pull is pretty smooth and in line with other X-Shot blasters of the line. Getting down, there is some dart storage here. I probably would have recommended permanently keeping that in that. Basically, with anything Nerf related, anything dart storage is probably going to crimp your darts if you use any sort of dart storage long term. So I wouldn't recommend that, but you do have two dart storage slots in the front here, which is still pretty cool that they could do that, and a really good use of space, in my opinion. So that's basically all that it is. Yes, you prime back the blaster after you front load, and you go pew, 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 pew. Actually, you go pew, and then you're probably going to go, because you hear that satisfying sound. That's all to go over with this blaster. Let's get into a firing demo. So I didn't do an unboxing, but basically the darts came with X-Shot full-length darts. Basically, it has a blue tip instead of the orange and gray tip. So we'll start out with X-Shot full-length darts. And we're shooting at that back door. I'm sorry about the light glare. I don't know why light glares so badly in this house, but it does. So I apologize. Alrighty, keeping on the X-Shot theme, I'm going to fire some X-Shot 3/4 length darts. These are not full length darts. Obviously, these are the little short ones. Damn. Running gun. Accurate AF, y'all. And because I have 2 more, I'll fire 2 more of the X-Shot 3/4 lengths. I didn't even aim on that one. Pretty much what everybody wants me to compare it to, Nerf Elite 2.0 darts. Or sorry, Nerf Elite darts. Now some Adventure Force nipplehead style darts. Yikes. White Amosting darts. Wow. I could tell just from the eye test that the velocity of those Amosting darts were below anything else that I just shot out of this blaster. Now for some Screamer darts. Ew. Now for some Dodu's 3/4 length darts. First one, the normal style, and then the suction cup style. Suction cup dart. And lastly, for comparison's sake, Old Orange and Strike Streamline darts. Actually fired them. Wow. Yikes. Firing analysis and conclusion of the X-Shot Kickback. Firing this blaster actually was a lot of fun. But unlike something, again, endless comparisons to the Flux, I didn't like it quite as much. I could tell that the performance wasn't as great as something like the Flux. The Flux basically fired everything that I put through it at a very high velocity. The Kickback failed to do that fully, and with my chronograph being broken, I don't have velocities for this blaster, nor could I find it accurately for them. Because some of them said, oh, it's within the X-Shot like par. Yes, but some blaster, that's not really too helpful, because I'd like the exact velocities of each projectile for a specific blaster. That whenever I review, that's what I look for. But firing analysis basically of that, the X-Shot darts, the full-length darts actually look like they kind of struggled through this blaster a little bit. Quite surprising, because that's the darts that technically came with it. Actually, I have the box over here. Yeah, it basically came with the same things as these. Let me see if I can... I'm not going to tear into that right now. But it's basically the exact same as the full-length darts. And they didn't fire as well as the 3/4 length darts, which were actually the star of the show this time, right? Usually the X-Shot full-length darts are the stars of the show whenever I do a firing demo. But it's actually the 3/4 length darts that did that. Nerf Elite darts fired pretty well. The Adventure Force did alright. The Amosting dart shot at a very, very low velocity. So did all the other projectiles after that I fired through it. It was pretty bad. So if I were to give this an estimate just based off of the eye test of the velocity, don't quote me on this, yes. say, oh, Craig said that this shot blank FPS when he didn't use a chronograph. Still must be true. Don't take this one as for word, but I'm going to estimate probably around maybe 70 FPS. I don't think that it reaches the 80 FPS velocity that the Flux was shooting at. So is it basically just a Flux reskin? No. And for that, I don't know if I like this performance better. Plus, the grip proportion is just, I'd rather use a Flux rather than use the Kickback. But this is still not a bad secondary option compared to other Elite blasters. It has a sleek profile. It actually holds into a smaller holster than something like the Flux would. So you could go around and holster this blaster. It's still a single shot blaster, but yeah, you could still definitely put a custom holster in it if that's what you want to use as your secondary / primary. I think this is basically getting into the realm of a secondary. Same thing with the Flux, like it's almost at the size of a secondary. So you're going to have a single shot secondary when you could have something like a strong arm that has 6 shots. But it's still, there's nothing objectively wrong with the Kickback. It just has underwhelming performance, and just I think that this grip proportion kind of sells it too much for me, but really nothing wrong with it. So getting down into some other things, some marketing part of this, I did buy this from Dollar General for about $5 actually, and I'm not kidding, that's with tax and everything. Not bad blaster to pick up, honestly. Actually, no, was it $5? I think it was about $5 from that. So not bad blaster to pick up, in my opinion, honestly. Actually, no, I didn't buy, this was not one from Dollar General. I bought it from Burlington, actually, for about $5, really. It's another discount store, so yeah. But still a really good choice if you're wanting to get into X-Shot and stuff, which I'm thinking right now, X-Shot is better than Nerf. As far as right now, I would definitely recommend X-Shot, Dart Zone, not the Adventure Force like Walmart, like off-brand, but like the actual like Dart Zone. That I recommend these brands over Nerf right now. Nerf isn't doing too well, especially with Elite 2.0 and that stuff. But if you're looking to get into X-Shot, this is actually not a bad starter blaster. I'd still definitely see if you can get the X-Shot Flux, which also at Dollar General. But actually, while I was at Dollar General, speaking of that, I found a whole bunch of reskins of the Flux. So it's still out there, right? This is just the Poppy Playtime one, which is a little bit more of a rare skin than what you can definitely find. But I found like 3 different versions of this one. But the Kickback you could definitely pick up. It's definitely cheap, cheap in a good way. And has decent performance. The performance, yes, I said was underwhelming, but it's nothing I would say avoided. I'm just saying that there's better options out there, right? But maybe you might be able to deal with the grip better than I can with that. There's still nothing wrong with it. So my opinion on this blaster, I'm actually going to say is positive. I actually kind of like it. And of course, if you just go around dry firing the trigger like that, that's still super fun. That's this gimmick. I love that gimmick of it. And that's same thing with the Flux. It's like you're pretending to shoot a real firearm, and you can cock back the slide just ever so slightly. Not all the way. It doesn't have that confirming click, but you can do it enough to where it feels like that. Actually, you can pull back this slide more than you can on the Flux, which actually gives it even more of that realistic feeling. But yeah, so it's fun. It works pretty well. I think that they still could have done better. I'd say the X-Shot par is about 80 FPS. For most blasters, even backup blasters should shoot about 80 FPS, especially when we're compared to the Flux, which did shoot about that realm. So yeah, my opinion on that, my recommendations would be to look into this if you're trying to get into X-Shot. But if you really want a good thing, obviously, of course, that I've been comparing to this all video, go get a Flux. Maybe a Menace. I would not recommend that because of how miniature and stuff it is, but go get a Flux or something like that. It's basically the exact same thing. It's a little bit bigger, but the proportions are better in my opinion, and you still have the performance is better, and you'll have the same amount of fun with that. Or you can just grab both and just start dual wielding, right? That's always fun too. But let me know your thoughts on the X-Shot Kickback in the comments down below. I hope to get to a lot more X-Shot blasters in the future. Honestly, on this one, good job X-Shot, but I think that you cut corner in a few places. Not enough to say what are you doing X-Shot, but still not a bad blaster on that. My name is Craig. I will see you guys in the next video.